Welcome. We got this box of Runewars from Adapticon, and we're gonna do the unboxing now. So, it's a big box, not too heavy. There you go, the artwork. The box comes with 3 different books: Learn to Play, Rules Reference, and a lore guide. It seems this is not the first game with this Runewars thing. They have been doing games for some time, so it's a good that you can understand what's going on in the universe by reading the lore guide. Again, rules and learn to play. So aside from the books, you have what you'd expect to see from a X-Wing, Imperial Assault, everything the Fantasy Flight would be doing with the rulers. Very well wrapped. The rulers, tokens. Those would be the command dials, the rulers, and some terrain. So there are 3 boards here. Very nice cardboard, thick. The ruler, the dials again, large piece of terrain with some, I believe those are part of the dials, some tokens. Very easy to detach. You don't need a tool or anything. Very interesting. A list of things Fantasy Flight does. All nice games. Dice. So there are 2, 4 8-sided dice, 12-sided dice, 2 of them, plus the rest of the material you need to, in order to find your, to mount your dials. Starting with the miniature parts. So everything inside of those Ziplocs. So those would be the miniature bases. Everything is, it gets locked together. So you can have several miniatures locked together into something that would be similar to the trays you would find in war games. Very interesting concept. So when you move, everything moves together. You don't have to get too worried about. It looks okay, I believe. So it's not very good, but it's good. Good enough. You don't want to play too much with your miniatures anyway. So you got these long ones. And then there's a bunch of the smaller ones for the smaller miniatures. So 4 of the soldier type miniatures in each. And again, you can assemble them in a way that you make them into a tray-like single structure. Very interesting. This is a kind of unique. I haven't seen this anywhere else. More of those, just different sizes. Next, some cards. I haven't read the rules, but I know it's a mixture between the other games they've had before. I've played in Gen Con a demo. Very well built, very nice artwork. Love it. So the box has another set of cards. And when you think it's over, of course it's not. This is a miniature game. We're missing the miniatures. So there are two of those big bags. It's interesting, we didn't know how much assembly would be required. So let's get those guys for example. Those would be your skeletons. They will easily go together. Probably gluing would be fine, or even better, but not required for sure. At least for those. You don't want to paint and then just to have to handle this kind of issues. But it's at least for, again, those guys, you don't need to do anything outside of just putting them together. Very interesting. So aside from the skeletons, you would have more skeletons. Those are a little, I'm sorry, those are not even skeletons. Those would be your soldiers. There's a number of them. I don't know the total miniature count. I'll get to that in a minute. So those guys will be 3 parts instead of 2. Not too difficult, but you actually have to look at what you're doing. Yeah, I'll probably glue those guys for sure. Those are not as good as the other ones. Could be me, of course. But anyway, you would build a nice spearman with shields. Those guys look great. We saw something painted over both Gen Con and Adepticon, and they look fantastic. Anyway, so those guys with those, so it's a shield spear guy. Very nice, very detailed. I like the size of the miniature. Everything looks good. And then a little bit more skeletons, more of those exoskeletons, more of the same of those spearmen, more spearmen. So there's 4 each. There's probably some 16 spearmen. I would guess 16 skeletons. There's 32 already. So in the other compartment, you'd see more miniatures, of course. Those would be skeleton archers. Again, not too much to do. They're a little thinner than the other ones. So those are probably glued together as well. They will fit. They will have a hole so you can fit them. Look good, very good. But again, I would glue them and then paint, of course. Not a big painter, but still. So there's just 2 of those here. Another 2. Another 2. So there's 6 archers, skeleton archers already. Another 2, 8. So those would be a little different. Let's see what they're about. Yeah, it's just another set of skeletons. Again, just 2 parts. Those are a little easier to assemble. So instead of having an axe, they will have a sword and a shield. They look good. So 4 of those here. Coming to the more interesting things, you have your monsters. This actually has several pieces into that. It's not as complex as you'd see in other miniature games, but it still has a number of things on it. This is, I don't know how they call it. In D&D it would be a silkworm or something. It's probably something very similar to the silkworm in the other games. Nasty. This would be the enemy faction monster creature. Again, as you can see, I'm not even trying too hard, but it's easy to put it together. I'll still again glue before painting. When you compare the size of this to the size of the skeleton, it's much bigger, probably 2-3 times as big, 2.5 times as big at least. It's a little heavy, but it's everything plastic, which is always nice. So those would be your premium stands for your heroes, I believe, from both factions here. So this is more of a skeleton type king, and this other one, and there are several parts. They're not posable, so everything has to be as is, but at the same time you would be able to, for example, it's hard to say. Anyway, so there are 2 heroes. They're just human sized, but then again, because of the stand, it's a very nice stand, and a little bit more detail, you'll be able to get those and assemble those nice pieces. I've seen them in play, and they are a lot better than the regular miniatures. And finally, oh, there's actually 2 more. So the cavalry. There are a few parts to those guys. So it's the horse, which is a whole piece, and then you'd have the torso, and then just the head. How many you got here? 4 of those. Very nice horse, armored, detailed, lovely. And finally, there is this golem. A lot of pieces to that. It's not, again, a lot in comparison, but it's not that too many when you think of miniature games and where it could go. So you see 2 pieces together, and you have about the whole miniature. There are another two arms, and there's a waist thing you have, and then the base, but it's mostly there already. So I don't know when they're launching. We asked it there, so it's probably either sometime late this month or early next month. So we're about this game should start appearing in the stores soon. We did ask when, and they didn't say exactly when. They just brought this as show exclusive for Adepticon, so that's why I got it. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.